Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
But yeah, Andrew put out a video not 24 hours ago about Hasan getting subpoenaed. So, and he's going to go over the legal reality of it. Maybe he's going to go over what Hasan could be charged with. Maybe it's actually a pretty short video, but I figured we'd take a look at it and see what a Raya has to say about this.
Hasan Piker is now under federal investigation, and this time the penalties can be very serious. We're going to today on The Legal Mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. Now, Hasan Piker is no stranger to controversy and potentially filming his crimes live.
Kaya, please just stop.
Now, this time it's
That's
not
dog
for
shocking.
Collargate, but this time it's for something serious, as the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, is probing into his participation in a March 2026 activist trip to Cuba. He was part of the Nuestra America convoy, which was deemed as a humanitarian aid convoy, but involved many activists, many of which, in fact, advocate for violating U.S. law.
We're here with Morid, and he is a Palestinian currently studying for free.
Here in Palestine and Cuba, things are all too similar. Both our peoples are living the same thing because of the same enemy. I am ready to be...
What? Hold up! Hold up! Hold the fuck up! Here in Palestine and Cuba,
things are all too similar. Both our peoples are living the same thing because of the...
This same... Oh my god, are you fucking serious? This guy literally just said that Palestine and Cuba had the same enemy. Translation, everybody, the United States. This man just said that the enemy is the same enemy. Well, I mean, capitalism, i.e. the United States. Oh, well, no. Do you not know? Israel's not attacking Cuba. That's why he's saying the same enemy, the United States. He's trying to make I think he's trying to make the claim that the U.S. is the enemy of both Palestine and Israel. Or Palestine and Cuba. Like, maybe because they're aligned with Israel. Who fucking knows? But what is this bullshit? So this activist, this SJR, who's going to state-sponsored school in Cuba, which, by the way, all the schools in Cuba are run by communists, he's saying that the Palestinians have the same fight as the Cubans, and they have the same enemy. Bull fucking shit. The enemy of the Cubans is literally their communist government that is, like, taking everything from them. It's literally their own government that's killing them. With the Palestinians, it's fucking Hamas. Hamas is basically the enemy of the Palestinians because Hamas is using the Palestinians as fucking meat shields to try and destroy Israel. Like, what are we doing here? And of course... And of course, he found the one Palestinian guy in all of Cuba that he could conduct this interview with. Because he can say, because he went up to this guy and probably said, okay, so you can say, so when we're going to do an interview and you say that the people of Cuba and the people of Palestine are both fighting against the evil imperial capitalistic dogs of America, right? You can do that, right?
Same enemy. I am ready to be on the battlefield for my people to support them on the front lines.
In the alleged...
Against whom? Against fucking whom? The battlefield in Cuba would be against your own government, which they'd kill you in 2.5 seconds flat. The battlefield in Palestine should be against fucking Hamas. You get rid of Hamas, Israel will be cool with you. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Oh, you fucking scam artist. Yeah, he probably gave the guy $10 and said, hey, can you say something bad about America on camera? And the guy went, $10? American? Hell yes.
issue says essentially boils down to, did he violate official U.S. sanctions in his trip to Cuba? Now, we're going to get into those very specific and very, very serious allegations. But first, I have a very important message.
Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The
I know $10 is a lot in Cuba.
Underscores the consequences.
I know $10 is a lot in Cuba. Don't forget, Hasan was bragging about going to Cuba and just basically doing the whole making it rain thing on native Cubans, like claiming that he'd remember he showed that giant stack of bills that he claimed that he was going to be giving out to all of the poor, unfortunate native Cubans. Yeah, chances are he didn't give them shit. He basically had that as a prop. But there's more at play here. Yeah, I have no doubt he made the kids dance for money. I have no doubt. Because don't forget that fucking rager party that they had. Not one native Cuban person was there. It was all the Code Pink fuckers. It was all the Code Pink, fake activists that were there partying it up at that little rave that they had. They didn't invite any of the native people there, did they? Yep.
Of those decisions. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code to take a short quiz to see if you qualify for a case. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000.
Okay, so the laws that are at play here involve whether or not he was dealing in transactions that are prohibited with Cuba. So that could be financing, coordinating, or delivering goods he shouldn't have, staying at or transacting with Cuban government-owned or controlled entities. There's a list of hotels that are prohibited and where you cannot stay in Cuba. There's also other things you're not supposed to be doing while you're there. And the problem with Hasan and many live streamers is that they want to openly brag about committing crimes. In fact, Hasan Piker has encouraged people to commit theft.
I'm pro stealing from big corporations. Yeah, no, I'm pro piracy all the way, like across the board. We gotta get.
And I don't know if Andrew was gonna say it. He was when he was on some kind of podcast. It was the podcast that do you guys remember the podcast that he was on where he was like, oh, I love the Hamas flag. It's so awesome. Where they're saying, what are your favorite flags? And he's like, oh, the Hamas flag all the way because it's so awesome. That podcast that he was on that podcast again and actually admitted on that podcast that basically Cuba reached out to an intermediate, or Hezbollah. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Hezbollah flag. Sorry. Someone in the sandbox, okay, is one of those flags from the fucking sandbox. I don't keep track of them because I quite frankly do not give a fuck about them. They're all terrorists. They're all in the sandbox. So I give less than a fuck about who it comes from. They're all pieces of shit. Moving on. He said on this podcast that someone from the Cuban government reached out to an intermediary who then contacted Hasan himself and said, hey, if you wanted to do a trip to Cuba, we'll sponsor your trip. We, the Cuban government, would be very happy to have you come to Cuba. So that's a whole different fuck me level of moment that could tie into what's going on here potentially.
Get back to cool crimes like that, bank robberies. Chaos.
It's not illegal for him to stay at a quote unquote 5-star hotel. It's just there is a list of hotels that you as an American citizen, if you visit Cuba, are not allowed to stay at for the very specific reason because those specific hotels are government-run hotels. And if you pay to stay at one of those hotels, you are giving money to the communist government of Cuba. Therefore, you are giving money to an enemy of the United States. That's why you are not allowed as an American citizen, if you do visit Cuba, why you are barred from staying at certain hotels.
Full chaos. Let's go. I mean, look.
So what OFAC has done here is they've requested information. So they've sought out more information to do a review of this activist trip and any particular foreign influence or sanctions evasion that might have.
That's the question, is did he that's been the point of contention. Hasan has said, no, I didn't stay at one of the prohibited hotels. Everybody else is saying, oh yeah, he fucking did. He absolutely did stay in a prohibited hotel. But there's even more than that. And Andrew might get into that. And if Andrew doesn't, I will get into it.
Now, while there are no criminal charges yet, the penalties for this can be very serious. And Hasan Piker indeed is scared.
Is not great. Okay? They're after your boy. We will free you, brother. Yeah, free me. Free me. Free me. I can't believe I'm saying that.
So the
I think he's actually scared. For the first time, I think he's actually scared. I think it's finally coming down on him like a ton of bricks that shit just got serious. This isn't, oh, they pulled me into secondary when I came back to the country. This isn't, oh, they took away my fast pass for getting through customs. This is, oh, I actually need to go talk with investigators from the Treasury Department. And shit just got real serious. Because he could be facing big time fines, and I'm sure Andrew will talk about this, like tens of thousands of dollars in fines and or up to 10 years in prison. So shit actually did get serious. And and he's realizing that the game, potentially speaking, could be over. Yeah, he's scared. For the first time, he's scared. His billionaire daddy trust fund will bail him out. If it's from criminal charges, the billionaire daddy trust fund may not work. Except you're saying Congress reschedules like how they did with Dan? Except this isn't Congress. That's the distinction I made before. When this first popped off, I told you guys that very distinction. This is not that he has been subpoenaed to speak in front of a congressional committee or anything like that. None of that bullshit. If it had been the congressional committee thing, I'd been like, okay, well, this is going to go fucking nowhere. No. He's actually been subpoenaed, which is a legal document, which means he has to comply. And if he doesn't, he goes to jail. To the Treasury Department, to an investigator. Okay? So it's not like going and explaining his actions to Congress because Congress ain't going to do fuck all. This is going to an actual federal investigative body that is going to put him in a room, sit him down, and interrogate him. So as the Treasury wants their money? Not necessarily. It's the Treasury wants to find out. The Treasury is going to try and make the determination whether or not he violated embargo laws. Basically, whether or not he violated the law. And bearing in mind, they would not have subpoenaed him for an interview/interrogation if they did not already have a bunch of fucking evidence. If they did not already have a bunch of evidence that has them at minimum on the brink of being able to file charges, at minimum, they would not have done the subpoena. They would have just, they would have never bothered. The only reason why they're doing this subpoena is they're either looking to get that final nail in the coffin, or they're just looking for the cherry on top of their investigation. It's going to be one or the other. And as Phoenix said on Side Scrollers when about this, they've got to make this stick. Like, Treasury absolutely needs to have a rock-solid case, and they need to make this stick. Because if they don't, if Treasury does not build a case, get him in court, and win their case because they have proper evidence to do so, he is going to use this to basically create fucking riots. He will use this as, look at this fascist government trying to silence me, trying to silence the quote-unquote truth. So I really fucking hope that Treasury has all their ducks in a row and they have more than enough evidence to lock him down and lock him up. Because if they don't, this is going to be a shitstorm. And it's going to give him and his entire orbit of people all kinds of ammunition to basically start saying, look at what the fascist government is trying to do to silence me. And they'll actually have something that might actually stick with dumbass, troglodytes that don't understand how the reality works. So that's the biggest fear right now, is that, if they don't have enough to make this stick, it's going to cause a major rift in the country. That's the scary part. And Welderzak and CEO of Sexism, thank you both for the gifteds.
Yeah, free me. Free me. Free me. I can't believe I'm saying that.
So the potential penalties here can actually stack up. This is under the Cuban Assets Controls and Regulations Act, which is enforced via the International.
He doesn't have enough of a following for that to mean anything. It's not so much his following. Okay, bearing in mind, it's his following is a little bit inconsequential. Because people report on Hasan, Asmongold, Pegasus, Nuts, Hirsche, people that have loud voices. When they talk about him, it reaches a lot of people. And if he and then who would be raising up to stand by him? Literally everyone that hates the government right now. Not even fans of Hasan, not even fans of his orbiters. But if it comes out, if it happens that he basically gets hauled in and they even charge him and put him in front of a judge, and the judge says, nope, he's free to go, he will capitalize that. You'll have other YouTubers and streamers talking about it. The word of that will spread. And all of the people in America, not even necessarily fans of his, but simply just hate the government or hate Trump in and of himself, because whatever their individual reason is, that will become a lightning rod for them of, look at how corrupt the government is. They're trying to silence people that are trying to tell the quote unquote truth. That's what's going to happen. They don't have to give a fuck about Hasan if they can use him to further their own means and their own message. They will. And that's the scary part. Oh wait, yeah. Just look at how many cities have been burned to the fucking ground because of bullshit reasons, because of ideologies, because of fifis. You think that's not going to happen if he goes to court for this? What cities? How about Minnesota? Twice. Okay, remember George Floyd? Remember how they burned half the fucking city to the ground? Pretty sure they also did so with Philadelphia, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it was Philadelphia, that there was another thing there. Okay, now we're getting semantics. It's still there. There were fucking... Okay, quick question. Were there mass riots in Minnesota? Twice. In Philadelphia? In Seattle? Where there were mass riots, looting, and fires? Yes or no? Were there mass riots, looting, and fires in at minimum those cities? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now you're splitting hairs. Now you're splitting hairs. When I say burned to the ground, I'm not talking about the entire city literally being burned to ashes and not being there anymore. Okay, obviously I'm not saying that. Obviously I'm speaking colloquially. That there was massive riots, there were a lot of fires that burned down a ton of businesses, massive looting. It's a colloquialism. Okay, it's a bit hyperbolic, but you understand what I mean. Okay, let's not split hairs over this, shall we?
National Emergency Economics Power Act, the IEEPA. So there's two sides to this, a civil side and a criminal side. On the civil side, the penalties can be up to $91,000 per violation. So the issue is here, if you go on one of these trips, let's say you're out there on a long trip and you're doing multiple things, especially if you're live streaming, once again, being your own star witness, you might violate several of these provisions. So maybe you're bringing in or transacting with goods you're not not supposed to bring in or you're not supposed to buy. Maybe you're staying at a hotel you're not supposed to stay at, or something that's linked to the Cuban government and prohibited. So you may have multiple transactions, so that 91K can stack up against you. And that is indeed the lowest level. But on the highest level, for willfully doing these things, for going out and saying, yep, I did it, who cares, so what, and bragging about it, which many of these influencers actually go out and do, you can have.
And Hasan especially does do this. He loves to just brag about this shit. He loves to brag about doing shit and not catching any punishment for it. Oh yeah.
Fines for up to $1 million on the corporate side for most individuals, about $250,000, 250K on the individual side. But you can also face imprisonment for up to 10 years. So there is actual real prison time that can be behind willful violations. Yes. Now, it's very clear that this is not been pressed yet, but it's still on the table. Now, in practical cases, when we look at these things, most of these violations for first-timers or non-egregious offenses are typically civil penalties. So they'll typically slap them with some sort of fine. So it might be a 10, 20, 30.
Unless they want to make an example of it. Because they have that option. Like he said, typically it's civil, typically it's just the fine. Asman. My apologies, Asman. I didn't mean to insult you like this. Hasan has been such a pain in the ass to so many people, including the government, with what he's been saying. They may actually push if they've got the evidence to make the case of it. They may push for prison time, and I hope they do. We are at the point where. Yeah, he needs to actually feel pain. He actually needs to start feeling the squeeze and start feeling the pain and realizing that his actions have consequences. He's been fucking around for years. It is time for him to start finding out. Okay? He absolutely needs to start finding out. Whether or not they're going to, I don't know. I do not know. We can hope, and we will see.
40K fine, once again, up to 91K. These things can add up. Hasan Piker's got money, but if you hit him with a couple of these, I mean, that's a dent in his Labubu budget. Now, we're going to see where this actually plays out, but where I see this happening and being a problem with Piker, whether or not he gets into any problem here, is to look at his pattern of behavior of encouraging criminality, encouraging breaking the law. It's only a matter of a time till somebody is motivated enough to get him on camera saying something and actually punish him. He's gotten away with many of his crimes because they've been local crimes. The local California PD is not that motivated. Many of them are probably politically aligned with Piker, so they might agree with him on other issues and therefore not want to prosecute him. So he's gotten away with a lot, but the feds are not necessarily going to fall into that camp.
Exactly.
And they might look at this and say, no, this is an on-your-face violation here, and actually hold him to task. And I cannot wait till the day comes that Hasan Piker actually reaps some of what he's sown. Because once again, he has openly encouraged criminality time and time again.
I want
to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Honestly, I would actually be happy if he caught the couple $1 million in fines. Even if he doesn't go to federal prison, I'd still be happy if he catches several $1 million in fines. Because that will still hurt him. Hasan's whole big thing, Hasan's big thing over literally everything else is he's rich. He's a rich, he flaunts his wealth all the time. He tries to pretend like he's not, but he flaunts his wealth literally all the time. It's literally a part of his brand. And I would dearly love to see him get hit with get some of that wealth get hit. I would love to see it. I would prefer prison. I actually would. Now, here's something that Andrew did not go into that may potentially be a factor is that there's also is Treasury can be looking at the quid pro quo. Because that's another factor. Because don't forget, he was invited by the Cuban government. His trip was sponsored by the Cuban government. The Cuban government gave him access with all of his gear to sit down and have multiple interviews with people. He stayed at the hotel that he's claiming was not the government hotel, but everybody else is saying was a government hotel. So there was a great deal of quid pro quo that happened with the Cuban government, which may fall under what the Treasury is looking to levy charges against him for, because basically he's giving the Cuban government some kind of a benefit. Whether or not that would fall into a violation of the embargo or not, I don't know. That maybe it's a completely separate thing. But it's, what he received from the Cuban government is not necessarily like money. Maybe money did not necessarily exchange hands, but there was still something of value that was exchanged between the two. Hasan was able to have a vacation in Cuba and live stream over there and talk to a bunch of people and basically, talk about how Cuba is such a wonderful and magical place and everybody's happy and lie his ass off while doing fake interviews with people just to glaze up the Cuban government. Cuban government basically gets all sorts of free publicity from their favorite communist streamer. So there's a quid pro quo there that I don't know if it can be quantified into charges from Treasury or some other federal law enforcement agency, but there is that there as well that could be a factor in how things progress with federal law enforcement against Hasan. So the entire internet is going to be keeping an eye on this, okay? Because don't forget, when Nick Shirley went to Cuba, they confiscated all of his gear except for his phone, and they missed one microphone. And after 1 day, they were there for literally 1 day, and they had a 2-star general coming to interrogate them and had to literally do a full-on escape plan to escape from the country so they would not be detained and disappeared by the Cuban government. Okay, contrast Nick Shirley's experience with Hasan's experience, and there you fucking go. Hasan was I'm actually a little bit surprised that they are not looking. Maybe they are. Maybe they're looking into this and still hush hush. But I would not be surprised if the federal government, federal law enforcement, is actually looking into Hasan as being a foreign operative. Maybe they could potentially be looking at charging him as a foreign agent for Cuba. I would say that is on the table, given how much he glazed Cuba and how Cuba basically facilitated his ability to live stream there. It would not surprise me if they are starting to look at him because there's been multiple people that have been charged as being foreign operatives in the United States. Why not look at charging him as being a foreign operative, perhaps? Yep, stays in China, stays in Cuba. Exactly. I don't know, not necessarily a spy, but as an operative. I'm losing the word. There is a word for it. And it's not like an operative, it's I cannot remember what. For the life, there is a phrase there, asset. Yeah, maybe a foreign asset. Maybe not necessarily collaborator, but it's there is a word, and for the life of me, I cannot think of the word. It escapes me, but you get what I'm saying. Not necessarily for an agent, but as a resource, not co-conspirator. Basically, he can function as a resource to a foreign government. There's a technical term for it. I'm gonna drive myself nuts trying to figure out, but that's what I'm talking about. Is could they be looking at him for that as well as Treasury looking at him for violating the embargo? So yeah, it's we're gonna be watching to see what happens. Again, I just hope that Treasury has its ducks in a row, that if they are going to charge him, that this subpoena to interview is nothing more than just a cherry on top, and they've already got the case ready to go in front of a judge. I really hope they've got everything good to go. Oh, this could be a decent follow-up. This could be maybe we'll do the other angry video, but this could be a decent follow-up. Hero put out a video just a couple hours ago as a follow-up to what's happening with Hasan. Apparently, there's something else going on with Hasan. that like Hero put out a video saying he's already getting betrayed by his own friends. Whoa, I'm interested. I'm very interested. Let's take a look. See if there's more to this that because Andrew's video came out like a little while ago. This just came out a couple hours ago. Let's see what we got.
With Hasan recently getting his subpoena from the U.S. Treasury, apparently over his Cuba trip and things related to that. Well, now he's on stream and people are saying that he's already snitching. He's already so afraid of all of this that he's snitching on his own people.
He betrayed his own people. Oh my God. It's already roaching out. Yup, they always hate each other. He's already fucking roaching out. Here we go.
Specifically, we've got, as you can see here, Hasan names Singham, PSL, Answer, and Code Pink in one breath. On stream today, Hasan Piker discussed the reported Treasury scrutiny and said the broader target is probably Singham and his operation. It's not me, guys. It's him. It's him.
Uh-huh.
Naming PSL, Party for Socialism and Liberation, Answer Coalition, probably says Code Pink. Yeah, hold on a second. Let's scroll here. Yeah, Code Pink. And quote, anything he has ever financed. Another time.
No, but by the way, this is not new. Okay, the whole thing with Singham, like funding Code Pink, like the head of Code Pink is married to this guy. This guy Singham. He's like a millionaire or something, or a billionaire. The woman in charge of Code Pink is married to this guy. And he funded Code Pink like $1.8 million. Like, this is not new. This is known. Here's the problem. Because it's all public knowledge, bearing in mind, Hasan is not going to have anything that he can give federal investigators. He will have absolutely nothing that he can give them that they don't already have. They don't need him to turn on these people because they've already got all the data they need to probably nail them to the wall. So this is so funny. He's publicly roaching out on all the people that he went to Cuba with, thinking, oh, I can maybe cut a deal. And the investigators are going to say, dude, we knew this months ago. We don't care.
Top response reading, this might be the first time someone has turned state's witness without actually being charged with anything. They just asked him to produce some financial documents, and he's drawing the whole organizational flowchart for them. Now, I'm not saying the response to this is coordinated in the top-down sense, but the number of simps going, it was public information, in a matter of minutes, suggests that the group's DMs have settled on a consensus. And so, as you'll see in a second when we start playing the clips, that's one of Hasan's defenses. As people began to laugh at him for this, he was responding by saying, it's public information anyways. But it's like, even if it's public information, it's still funny that, like, within 48 hours, he's on stream, like, pointing fingers at his own people now. He's like, no, they're after them, not me, guys.
I think that ultimately the target is probably Singham and his operation, from PSL to Answer Coalition to Code Pink, like anything that he has ever financed. And it's not new. It's been around for a while.
No, Gate. Shocker. I got newsflash for you. They've already got the information. They want you. They absolutely want you. You've been a thorn in the government's ass for years now. You have called for violence against sitting members of the government. No, they absolutely want you. They've got everything already on all the rest of them. They've probably got all the documentation they need. They want you. Because leave us not forget, when he went to Cuba, he went off on his own, doing his own thing. He wasn't with them. So why would they bring him in for questioning about Code Pink and Singham and all the rest of them when he was off doing his own, like, glazing of Cuba with his stream away from them? He's got nothing that they want. Just there's no information that he can give them that they're going to even care about.
But it's obviously it's held through regardless, because like it's ridiculous, right? It's like totally fucking ridiculous to
look at his face.
Try and
Look in his face. He's scared. He's scared. Just look at the expression on his face. Yeah, he's for the first time in a long time. He knows he's fucked. He knows what he's saying is bullshit, and he's scared right now.
Ridiculous to try and you know, to try and stop like the political advocacy
Wait, dude, Jack, something like that. Never mind.
of an American citizen, right? Roy Singham is a American citizen. He lives in China now, and he's a centimillionaire. I think he like has almost $1 billion. Not sure how much money he has now, but like he's been a funding vehicle for a lot of like political political movements in the country, like a lot of activism, and they hate that shit. Like the American government hates that shit. So
Why don't you hate him, Hasan? Why don't you hate him? Why were you all on board for going with Code Pink to Cuba if you hate, you know, centimillionaires, almost billionaires? You hate the rich, remember? You want the rich to lose everything to fund your communist utopia. Why don't you hate him? Why aren't you speaking disparagingly about him like you do every other super rich person in the country? Oh, is it because he funds the stuff that you like? Is it because he funds political activism that you like, perhaps? Could that be the reason, maybe, Hasan?
they're trying to jam him up, you know. They're trying to hit him on anything and everything they possibly can. That's it. That's the goal here. That's the broader goal.
Hang on, his chatter said something. Hang on.
That's it. That's the
This right here. Will use it to your advantage will be great PR that you teach them. I don't know if we're going to see it in this video, but people in his chat kept saying, use this to your advantage. This is great PR for you. And he started crashing the fuck out on them. Because he knows he can't use this as PR because he knows he's fucked. And so all these chatters that are kept going, this is great PR, use this to your advantage. Use this to boost yourself up. And he eventually like, crashes out at him and like basically tells him to shut up, that he can't do it.
that's the goal here. That's the broader goal.
Hasan then responded to that clip being shared by writing this on his own Twitter account. Everything quote-unquote revealed is available on Wikipedia, but this Manhattan Institute weirdo paid to clip farm my stream writes a sinister summary to ChatGPT, and every single moron on this website starts hallucinating that there's a comprehensive investigation, and I'm snitching. This website is making everyone on it dumber and prone to hallucination.
You know how you know? Chat, we have more evidence that he's scared. Do you want to know how I can tell from this post that he's terrified? Anyone want to take a guess how you can tell he's terrified from this post alone? Take a guess. Take a guess why this post showcases how scared he is. He doesn't blame Israel. He does not blame Israel throughout this entire post. He doesn't say that the person that clip farmed him is an agent of Israel. He doesn't blame it, blame the website being an Israel plant. He does not mention Israel once in this post. Yeah, that's his canned go-to, like scam and grift whenever he's like railing against somebody. That, and it's not, he's obviously not serious about it, or he's just, he's grifting for the sake of his audience. He'll always bring up Israel. Didn't bring up Israel once in this post. That's how you know he's fucking scared. Is his insult was limited to Manhattan Institute weirdo getting a summary through ChatGPT. That's his only insult. The fact that he didn't do inflammatory bullshit insults shows you how scared he is. Again, he has these tells. If you know what to look for, they're as loud as being screamed through a megaphone. That's one of his tells. That he always does Israel when he's basically trying to clout farm and doesn't believe what he's saying, is he blames Israel. He calls someone an agent of Israel. Then that's when you know he doesn't actually believe what he's saying and he's clout farming. This one indicates fear because he did not invoke Israel.
But that then took us over here to this clip. If Hasan's records show he followed the Cuba sanctions rules, he literally has nothing to fear.
Exactly.
Instead, he's reacting to a possible subpoena like he is the left's next revolutionary martyr. You kill me, you jail me, there's gonna be other people.
They have their own little fucking hug box where they're fantasizing about how, like, we got him. It's over. He's going to prison.
No, actually, they're not. Well, maybe some people are. Yeah, some people undoubtedly are saying he's probably going to go to prison. The majority of big voices, and I include myself in that, even though my voice is on the very, very, very low end of the scale when it comes to big voices, are not saying, oh, he's guaranteed to go to jail. No one, at least in the streaming and content creation space of significant note, is saying, oh, Hasan Scoff, he's done. He's going to jail. No one's saying that. They're saying he potentially could, based on what they're looking to potentially charge him with, and that this is bad, and no one is saying anything of certainty. He's the one that's acting like, oh, we're saying it's a certainty that he's going to go to jail. No one else is. Apart from Tectone, I don't listen to what Tectone says. So if Tectone said it, okay, whatever. I take that with a big grain of salt. But yeah, again, the fact that he's saying, oh, everybody's saying I'm going to jail, and it's hilarious. Again, a tell.
About how, like, we got him. It's over. He's going to prison. Or he's terrified. He's scared. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking. I've said it from the start. Okay, you kill me, you jail me. There's gonna be other people. You know, you're not gonna be able to stop the people from feeling the way that they do, you know?
I wonder if he realizes the same thing about the individuals that he rails against. What he just said about himself and his side, so to speak, granted his side is unique in nature, the same thing can be applied to the other side too. But that doesn't stop him from advocating for violence against those people. Bearing in mind, anyone of note has not advocated for any violence against him. He's the one that's advocated for violence against others. Just wanted to put that reminder out there.
You're going to have to concede on their demands at some point. It is what it is. You know, I personally still believe that the democratic process is perhaps the most successful method of dealing with discontent.
What? Hold up. I need to hear that again. Sorry, I think I got some stupid in my ears. I gotta hear that again.
It is what it is. You know, I personally still believe that the democratic process is perhaps the most successful method of dealing with discontent.
Son, you hate democracy. You revile democracy. You fuck communism every day, all day. Again, this is how you know he's really scared. Because up to this point, he's been all about the dictatorships. He's been all about communism. Don't forget, he claimed that the defeat of the Russian government was the single greatest failure in world history, i.e., the defeat of communism. Now, all of a sudden, democracy is great. Oh, he's scared. He's going to try and deny it. That statement alone right there shows you just how scared he is. That he's actually saying democracy is good.
But ultimately, people are frustrated. I'm only one guy, you know? I'm only one person.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like shaking scared, at least in the clips. He's trying to maintain his composure. So I'll at least give him that. But he says he's only one person. That is where I'm going to be like X'd out. He's probably somewhat maintaining his composure because, like I said, he's not one person. This guy comes from a family of immense wealth, and some of his family members are involved with political discourse as well. All of the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur. And so if it comes down to it, if he really needs to hire a lot of attorneys and stuff, hypothetically, I don't doubt for a second his extremely wealthy family would step in and help him with that, on top of the fact that he's also very wealthy himself. But his family has a lot more wealth than he does even. And like I said, he's probably counting on them helping out if it comes to it. This was funny too. So another person called him a snitch, and he actually responded to this guy. He says, "Nothing here is a crime, you freaking moron. It's all publicly available information and claims made by the government. Why are you getting duped by a Manhattan Institute guy's sinister framing?" Oh, there's the sinister framing one again.
Oh my.
Are you mentally stable? Are you a government agent?
Again, notice what's missing from here. First, he censored himself by saying effing moron. He censored himself for one. Still did this Manhattan Institute thing. Are you a government agent? Not are you an agent of Israel? Not are you an agent of Mossad? Are you a government agent? Again, a tell. The fact that he's not invoking Israel as some, big shadowy force that's coming after him is a tell that he's legitimately scared. That he knows that he may be fucked. Yeah. The words are speaking much louder than his voice is.
Huh, what's this one? Hasan Piker admitted on stream that the Cuban government reached out through the embassy to his
yes, this is what I was talking about.
Middleman with a special offer.
Go to Cuba. Would you be down?
I fucking love Cuba.
Oh yeah, you'd be down?
Yeah, I filmed a documentary there once.
The Cuban government actually hit my contact from the embassy and told him that if the only thing stopping us from coming to Cuba was the...
Well, that's just gross. Why does bro have to suck his straw right into the microphone? I was going to cut that out, but Hasan's speaking as it's going on, and we kind of need to hear the context on that, but yeah.
Consistent internet access, we can make it happen.
Yeah, Cuba is sick.
Wait, the government reached out to you?
So, yeah, of course. It's, well, not reached out to me. There's there's a middleman there. Because I had a doctor from Cuba. Cuba does this thing called medical missions, and they've been doing it.
By the way, notice how his story changed. Notice how his story changed. At the beginning of this, he said that Cuba reached out to his guy at the embassy. Now it's changed up to, oh, it's a guy I know that's a doctor. Notice the change.
It's, well, not reached out to me. There's there's a middleman there. Because I had a doctor from Cuba. Cuba does this thing called medical missions. And they've been doing it since, I believe, like the 70s. And it's incredibly successful. They have a massive, very robust, medical program.
Which, again, this is not someone that is from the embassy. This is just a doctor, like a Doctors Without Borders kind of thing.
They have to. Because they're under an incredible sanctions regime by the United States of America that the rest of the world thinks is abhorrent, except for America and Israel that keep consistently vetoing it over and over again.
There we go. See, I get. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? When he's LARPing and when he's grifting, he has no problem invoking Israel. But he didn't in all of his Twitter posts, did he? He didn't in the video clips where he was talking to his chat, did he? And a chance he gets, he always takes a shot at Israel. This is a fact. But he didn't in all the stuff we just saw preceding this.
But this has created a...
And then after Hasan named the PSL in that other clip, the...
Okay, and by the way, can we all just appreciate the fact that Hasan's excuse for Hasan basically just did a literal I know a guy when it comes to Cuba reaching out to him. That he hasn't what Cuba actually reached out to you, because it started with an intermediary through the embassy, and then after I don't know who the fuck this is, I don't care. When this guy said, so the Cuban government reached out to you, and you literally did the oh no, I know a guy. Translation: the Cuban government reached out to him personally. That's what that translation is. There is no I know a guy. The Cuban government literally reached out to him and said, hey, you're very vocally pro-communist. Do you want to come to Cuba and live stream while you're here? We'll make sure that you stay in the best hotel and have unlimited and unfettered internet access to do your stream. That's likely what happened, and that may very well be part of Treasury's investigation regarding the quid pro quo.
But this has created a...
And then after Hasan named the PSL in that other clip, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, we now see, so it turns out PSL has a lot of Reddit moderators, and therefore subreddits under its control. Like The Right Can't Meme, Genzedong, Late Stage Capitalism. Effectively, the entire tanky faction on Reddit appears to be directly influenced by China. Thanks for the info, Hasan. And apparently that almost $1 billion net worth activist guy, Singham, is funding a lot of the PSL operations and activities. Yep. Now, of course, it is common knowledge how compromised Reddit is. But nevertheless, it's pretty amusing that after Hasan talked about this on stream, all of this stuff has become much more public discourse and the public spotlight, so to speak. I wonder if his associate of sorts, Singham, is going to appreciate this. You know, Hasan could have just said nothing about all this and just dealt with it quietly. But instead, he decided to go on stream and point fingers. So now here we are. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. He went on stream and talked about it because he's desperate. That's why. He's desperate and he's scared. And you know what? Looks fucking great on him.